Hi there. Are you tired of being racially discriminated? Are you sick of being regarded as inferior due to your skin color or ethnicity? Do you want to be considered as an upper class in terms of social status? Well then, becoming a dominant race will definitely be a good choice for you. What is a dominant race? As the name suggests, it can be defined as the specific race or ethnic group who dominates the society in terms of wealth, power, and social development. So, how can you and your buddies help your race to become dominant? Well, a dominant race has to start somewhere, and it can be from the bottom. If you reckon the Germanic countries and people are the dominant dudes these days, they kinda started out as barbarians during the Roman Empire days, being looked down by the more civilized and socially advanced Romans. So do not worry, no matter where you think your race is placed today, it has the chance of becoming the dominant race in the future. The first step of becoming a dominant race is to make yourselves rich. Money is power. Things tend to work better when you have lots of money. You can make yourselves rich by trading, for example the Hanseatic League, Jews, and the Maritime Republic Italians. Or you can get rich by expanding into other territories, like how Prussia invaded Silesia, greatly improving its finances. However, just because you are rich does not mean that you are immune and untouchable. In fact, being rich means that others will be jealous of you and will probably want to get your riches by force. Thus, the second step of becoming a dominant race is to become militarily powerful. It will be a good idea if you and your buddies can gather together to form a country, or at least a distinct community within a foreign country. With the riches you have, you can pour a lot of money into army and protections. The purpose of the army is to protect your riches. The purpose of the riches is to increase the army power. With this cycle, you are on track of becoming more and more dominant. That is why the British Empire was able to become globally dominant. Its navy protected its rich colonies, and its rich colonies increased its navy power. The Brits thus became the dominant dudes for much of the 19th century. When you and your buddies become the dominant dudes, it would be a good idea to make friends with your neighbors. Even if you are powerful, having a bad relationship with your neighbors can be disastrous, especially if they decided to gang up on you and beat you up. Just ask Poland. Thus, good diplomacy skills are essential, like how this Otto von Bismarck managed to finesse his way into turning the German Empire a big bully on continental Europe without having the other four great powers ganging up on him. Absolute smart dude. Now that you are rich and powerful, it will be time to invest into cultural enrichment. To enrich your culture, it will be a good idea to encourage the nerds to study hard, contribute to science and maths, write some good literature, produce good drawings, design nice buildings, think of ways to improve living conditions and the general social development, so on and so forth. The point here is to make your country an intellectual and cultural powerhouse, the identity and pride for your people. In doing so, the language of your country will likely be the dominant and elite language in the region, because everyone needs to understand your language before being able to understand the scientific papers or enjoy the opera performance. When your language is the lingua franca in the region, naturally the language of international trade will be in your language. If you are weak in terms of civilization and cultural development, things tend not to work well in the long run. For example, the Mongolian Empire, though rich and powerful, could not sustain nor leave a lasting Mongolian dominance across Eurasia, because the Mongolians outside of the Mongol homeland were assimilated over the centuries, basically disappearing as a distinct group as time passed. No Mongol language or cultures are being practiced today in say Iran or Belarus, even though they were once a part of the Mongol Empire. On the other end of the spectrum, the Greeks in the classical age, were rich and powerful, and were also super advanced in cultural development. The Greeks contributed immensely in the field of academics and philosophy, of which the legacy still can be widely seen today. Thus, the Greeks were able to maintain dominance in the Mediterranean and Asia for centuries, even after the Romans invaded the Greek homelands. Advanced cultural development can also help ensure the survival of your civilization. For example, even though the Iranian, Indian, and Chinese civilizations were repeatedly invaded by nomads from Central Asia, their civilization survived, because the nomads would eventually adopt to the more advanced society and assimilate to the locals, effectively becoming the successors of the civilization. It will be an added bonus if you can spread your culture to your neighbors, and assimilate them if you can. In doing so, you will increase the number of people of your own kind, increasing the chance of survival across centuries and millennia. This is why China still exists today, because the Chinese civilization expanded and assimilated the crap out of everyone. This is also why the Sumerians do not exist today, because the Sumerian civilization got successively assimilated by other cultures, eventually becoming what is now the Arab culture and language in the Mesopotamia. Now that you and your buddies are rich, powerful, and culturally advanced, congratulations, you can be considered as a dominant race. The logical next step is to ensure you and your buddies can remain dominant as long as possible. One of the key ways to maintain dominance is to ensure your distinct racial and cultural identity is not compromised, so you can always be identifiable as the dominant race. Some ways to enforce racial and cultural identity include prohibiting interracial marriage, enforcing the use of your language in the society, cultural assimilation programs, and many more. If you and your buddies are dominant but a minority in a country, it would be a good idea to stick to your own kind, forming a bubble society, so you have a higher chance of preserving your cultural identity. Please be prepared to face hatred or even violence from the less dominant majority, as they will probably be quite jealous of you. It would also be a good idea to preferentially do trading and businesses with people of your own kind, so you can continue to enrich the people of your own kind, dominating the economy, and do not let outsiders to share your riches if possible. With the riches you have, you can contribute to building up schools and other social development projects among your people, so you can increase the general social status of people of your own kind. You are not obliged to help the people outside your own kind. When your people have been the dominant race long enough, your people are entitled to have a sense of superiority. With this sense of superiority, you can achieve a lot of things in life, based on your outer appearances alone. For example, you can racially discriminate other people, because you think your culture is superior. You can also do some racial profiling, because being ignorant is easier than making the effort to understand people from other backgrounds. You must ensure the people not from your own kind fits into the stereotypes or prejudice you have for them. You do not have to get to know them personally, as you already have an idea what they are like. To ensure your neighborhood is filled with only people of your own kind, you can refuse to sell or rent your property to people not of your own kind. After all, you are the dominant race, and you do not want your neighborhood to be polluted by the inferior people. You can also make movies of yourselves being the savior of the world, and all other countries are too dumb to help themselves and can only rely on you. In fact, people not of your own kind are dumb and stupid, and it's your job to educate them to make them think the way you do. You can visit a foreign country and be an expatriate, telling the locals what to do even if the locals have higher qualifications or experience than you, because you are from a dominant race and everyone else should listen to you. You can also do backpacking in other countries and beg for money to travel, because the locals should be thankful that a dominant race has come to visit, and that the locals should pay you to explore their exotic lands. You do not have to make an effort to understand other countries and cultures. After all, they should speak your language. Make sure to look down on those who do not speak your language as a first language. Even if they do speak your language as a first language, if they do not look like you or if they speak with an accent, they can still be considered as dumb as you are definitely smarter and more superior. Given there are so many benefits of being the dominant race, it is no surprise that everyone wants to become one. Examples of dominant dudes throughout the history include the bamboo network in Southeast Asia, Greeks in the Mediterranean and Asia during the Hellenistic Age, Romans during the Roman Empire, the Germans in the Baltics during the Middle Ages, Europeans in the New World, Arabs in sub-Saharan Africa, WASPs in the United States, and many more. You might be wondering, is it possible to have a society where everyone is equal and there are no dominant race or ethnic group? Well, history will say no. Humans have a natural tendency to step over each other and eat one another alive. But it's worth striving towards that goal of an equal society, a universal ideal that unites everyone, peace and prosperity for all. As there are many races and diverse ethnicities across the world, the least you can do now in this day and age is not to be a jerk, be nice to everyone regardless of background or skin color, and perhaps make this world a slightly better place. Thanks for watching.